someone who is, say, 100, just say you get a 130 kilo guy and they get down to 105 kilos or whatever over the space of 2 years, they got a good bit stronger. Their transformation picture isn't going to look that impressive.
Yeah.
That's the thing that really, because the leaner you are, the more you can see fat loss. So like if you're only a stone heavier, if you lose that stone and get down to like whatever quote unquote lean, that's going to look there's going to be way more visible changes than someone who loses a stone who has 5 stone to lose. But their health markers, like the actual difference, the one who gets lean might actually go the other way. They might actually be unhealthier.
That's what happened to me.
So it's like you can't,
you're glorifying the wrong thing.
Yeah, and you can't show just how much of a difference someone who's maybe really obese and has got to the overweight range, but that's ridiculously changed their life. They can do things like maybe reverse diabetes and stuff like that in exceptional scenarios. Obviously, I'm not saying that for everyone, but that's the thing that's way more impressive, and it's much harder to show, but those are the ones that I'm trying to show. So Sarah, the one I shared the other day, she's like 28 kilos down. And I'm not gonna lie, when Sarah first came on, so I was borderline like, have you ever had an eating disorder? And then she was like, nah. And this is why I can never ever, there is certain red flags where someone tells me like I drink every night and I'm an alcoholic. I'm like, right, I'm not working with you. But it's very hard to pinpoint what a client's going to be like. Like you can, there is obviously red flags. You go, not touching that person, absolutely not. But sometimes you look at like someone's like history, maybe like stuff they've tried before, and go, I don't know if I can help them. And then you just go, fuck it. Do you know what? I'm going to try it because I'm going to try this different strategy that I haven't really used. And Sarah might be listening to this, she might not, but I remember taking her on and going, I don't know if I'm going to be able to help her, just because the way she'd put on weight and how fast she'd done it. I was like, I don't know if that might be an eating disorder. But she said it wasn't. And when I talked to her, she seemed chilled out and normal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she was like hitting me back and forth with just logical, normal answers. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to take her on. And she's 28 kilos down. And ridiculously stronger, and I wanted to showcase that.
Yeah.
And I did that with the lifts that I shown, because she went from dumbbell Romanian deadlifting where she could fucking barely move an inch, and then she deadlifted 120 kilos out there.
Yeah, it's awesome. And that to me, I don't care if you're new into the space or not, but I always looking at it, I was like, that's sexy. That's more sexier than these transformation pictures.
Because I don't see many people showing stuff like that.
No, I know. And it's hard because it'll never maybe get as much attention.
It did, by the way, it did actually do really well. But I did put a
To
lot
your
of effort
audience,
to making it. Do you know what I mean? I like thought about everything, whereas people just throw up two pictures side by side.
There is a shift because people want more. I was actually having this conversation with a client this morning. She's over 60 and she says there's definitely, I would say, people over the age of 50, particularly women, are more focused on their health because they're going through menopause, their hormones they just want to feel good. They don't care how they look because their bodies are changing. And I think it's quite good that if that's the kind of demand that people are crying out for, as soon as you throw that picture or as soon as you throw that post up where you're talking about the journey and there is other benefits out with just a physical appearance, people will latch on to that more, and that will become a snowball effect the more that you do it. But it's just one of them, isn't it? I think transformation pictures, inherently, I don't think it's overall a bad thing. I think it's just for a specific type of audience that can go into it, because if you get shredded and you can go about it, depending on how you go about it, you feel good because you're feeling yourself and you're like, yeah, I feel fucking great. But if it's all based around this very subjective day where you get a photo shoot taken and then that becomes your new identity, and then every year it's a very toxic relationship, big weight gain, sharp weight loss, big weight gain, sharp weight loss, and you start messing up your fucking hormones, you start messing up your relationships in general with people and food. It's not just the food side of things, it just becomes very toxic.
Do you think there's any positives to photo shoots? Because I've had a few coaches try explain to me why they do photo shoots and why it's and as soon as you have to go above and beyond to explain why it's positive and it's not just clear as day, I'm like,
I like
you're
it. I like
trying
hearing the argument.
Yeah, I like
I do
hearing
like
it,
hearing the opposing, because I'm always like, nah, still don't agree with you.
but it's still like, nah, you're just convincing yourself.
Now, I've seen a couple of photo shoots done, which I think they do it really well, and it's like empowerment side of things of, regardless of your shape, we're taking a picture. You've been working in this program for 6 months and you can do this, but a picture doesn't quite capture the main benefits from working with someone for 6 months, because in a picture you can't really portray your energy, if your hormones are changed, how strong you got, how good you're feeling, how good your digestion is, your stress management. It's just a picture is your appearance. But then again, social media is quite very appearance based, so I think everyone does kind of seek that fucking good picture of them, like, oh, that's a nice wee filter and all this sort of stuff. So I don't know, like, I think photo shoots, why take a picture when you've, and I know the word is starved, and I know not a lot of people starve themselves, but they do very drastic things to get as lean as possible for a tiny wee snapshot, and then they never look like that. They don't even look like that the same day. As soon as the picture's taken, it's like, right, fuck, refeed. Oh man, feels so much better. So like, why? You know what I mean? It's like, I can't wrap my head around that, and I don't know if that's just because my experience around it. And I was like, right,
well,
cool.
that coaching with Tony, the last 12, out of the 18 weeks, 12 weeks was genuinely just avoiding food. And I'm so lucky that I was about 26 when I done that, and I didn't even care. Like, I didn't. That's how, what I mean. Well, loads of it is like, he's a bodybuilding coach, but I think people still fault people who aren't as into bodybuilding. So like, in a way, that was kind of like my fault that I knew what I was getting into. So you have to take ownership for that. But I think some people, they don't know what they're getting into. People that are more naive. Like, I was a coach myself already, but people who are just like seeing these transformations don't really know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
And I would say, not being funny, 80% of what I done with Tony was forced upon me. It wasn't my goal to get to 72 kilos. That's how much I weighed, and I'm 87 just now. Mate, I was a twig.